Hey, Christian, you caught it.
I did.
How come? What made it possible to catch?
Well, it was light enough. It was grippable.
Yeah.
It's about the right size.
So, we call those features affordances. It's about the right size. You can flip it around. You can throw it and catch it. And, you can even hide behind it because it doesn't afford the transmission of light. So, affordance is very important.
Wow, thank you. Hey, there's something inside.
How do you know?
Well, I heard something inside when I shook it.
And that means?
That I have a model that there's an object.
We call those conceptual models.
Oh, is it a gift?
Open it. So what are you looking for?
I'm looking for something that tells me I can open it. Because this lid doesn't open. There's a tab here that tells me something. It slid out.
Aha. It signifies that you can open it there. And we call that a signifier.
Oh, you shouldn't have.
It's okay.
I'm Christian Simsarian.
And I'm Don Norman.
And I'm Chelsea Glasson. And together, we'll be teaching the design of everyday things.
Look around you, everything is designed. If you thought a designer was the one who helped you choose curtains, then we'll show you that it's broader and deeper. It's about how things look, how they work, and just as importantly, how they make you feel.
And we're going to give you the scientific principles behind good design, the things that make it understandable. You already know 3: affordances, signifiers, and conceptual models.
We'll also help you take the first steps in designing the world around you yourself.
I'm at IDEO, one of the largest design companies in the world. I'm with Tim Brown, the CEO of IDEO, and Tim has written this very interesting book, Change by Design, which includes, among other things, a big section on the importance of design thinking. So Tim, design thinking. One of the points you argue is that it doesn't just make you a better designer, it makes you better at anything. Tell us about that.
I've always thought one of the wonderful things about being a designer is not just that I get to work on lots of exciting projects, but it helps me in my life, right? So when it's something as simple as I'm going to throw a dinner party for some friends, so I start, instead of just turning up at 7 o'clock and thinking about what I'm going to make, I actually design that. I try and design that experience. I think, well, who am I going to bring together, and what's the space going to be like, and how does the food and the space work together? All of these things that I naturally think about as a designer. And I think that's what design thinking does for you. It's a set of tools that allows you to approach life, particularly the parts of life where it might be advantageous to solve a problem differently. And it allows you to approach that with some level of kind of confidence because you've got some ways of going about it. And we have we're taught at school many ways of analyzing problems, of picking them apart and studying little pieces of them. That's very valuable. But design thinking gives you a different way of tackling a problem, often ones that's centered around the needs of the people you're trying to solve for. That might be yourself, it might be a customer if you're in a professional environment, it might be your colleagues in a work environment, but it's centered around that. And so it starts with thinking hard, looking hard, listening hard, and trying to study people and understand, in this instance, what their issues might be, what their problems might be, how they're thinking, how they're navigating the world or dealing with the world at hand, and then using that as the starting point for having ideas.
Mm-hmm. I often describe it, don't solve the problem. In fact, as a consultant, never solve the problem you're given, but figure out what the real problem is.
Yeah, figure out what the question is. Many of us think when people talk about creativity or design, they think it's all about solving the problem and being creative about that. But I find generally the most interesting solutions come out of the most interesting questions. And so that insight about what the problem might really be is often the most important and the biggest creative step. And so if you just assume you know the question, then especially if it's the same question that everybody else is asking, then you'll probably get to the same answer that everybody is getting to. But if you study a little bit and think a little bit and maybe look at things from a slightly different perspective, really get under the skin of the people that you're trying to serve, it's surprising how often you end up completely reframing the question.
And so, as you point out, this could be used by anybody, a business person, an artist, a journalist, anybody.
I mean, you can think about how you use it. I mean, one of the things I talk about in my book is ways of applying design thinking to your own life. I mean, think about your career. How can I apply a design thinking approach to my career, to the choices I make, or absolutely how you apply it in your workplace, no matter what you do. You might work in the finance department of a company and be thinking, well, how could I find more creative solutions to the way that the processes that work within our organization, or the way that we come together as people. And so I think whatever your background, if you have the tools to hand, the thinking tools to hand, and the confidence to use them, that design can be a great help.
Thank you.
Here I have a chair, which affords sitting. This affordance exists because of the shape of the chair combined with the abilities and shape of the human body. The same chair does not afford sitting for an elephant. An affordance is the relationship between an object, such as a chair, and a person. Affordances enable particular kind of interaction between people and objects. And the presence of an affordance is jointly determined by the properties of the object and of the abilities of the person who is interacting with the object.
This card shows two excellent examples of door design. So, black, so you can see that this is the handle, and a space, you can insert the hand. So it makes it obvious. You put your hand in here and you pull. Now over here, a vertical door handle. Again, nicely done. Space makes it obvious the hand can fit. Vertical slot, put my hand in and pull. One car, two different door handles, both well designed.
Signifiers are communication devices that tell people what to do and where to do it. Think about it. People oftentimes need some way of understanding a product or service they wish to use, some sign of what it is for, what is happening, and what the alternative actions are. People search for clues for any sign that might help them cope and understand. And these signs are called signifiers.
Let me illustrate the use of signifiers. How do you start and stop this video? Feel free to experiment. See that right pointing triangle down there? That's a pretty universal symbol to mean play. Click on me to play the video. And when you click on it, it changes to two vertical bars. Again, pretty universal symbol for pause. Click on me to stop the video. Now, how would you know that before you ever experienced it? Usually you have to be told, or sometimes they label it play and pause. But once you've learned it, it's the same all over. So that simplifies things. But hey, there's more. Click any place on the screen. It stops the video. Click again, it starts it. Pretty neat, huh? But no visible signifier. How would you ever learn that? You just have to know. Oh, and while you're at it, double click. What happens? So what do you think? These invisible signifiers that make it easier to do the thing, is that good design or bad design? You know, modern cars may still have a keyhole, but you don't have to use it. As long as the key is nearby, it senses that you're an authorized driver. So, how do I unlock this car? I just put my hand inside and watch. It unlocks. Nice. Really simple, easy. It turns on the interior lights too, so I can see inside when it's dark. Now suppose I leave and I want to lock the car. How do I do it? You can't see, but there's a little ridged area here, and if I touch it, watch, it locks. Oh, but I left all the windows open and the sunroof open. Do I have to open the car and go in and manually shut them? No, there's a secret way of shutting it. Secret. See, if I hold my finger here for a little while, The window's shut. And the sunroof shuts. But it is a secret. How do you ever learn it? Well, it's in the manual. But who reads the manual? It's a big, thick manual. People don't read the manual. I know lots of people who own this car who are not aware that they can shut all of the windows and sunroof without going back inside. Nice feature. Hard to know about it. That's clearly the door handle, but there's no perceived affordance. So it's a signifier that this is the handle, but it's only half a signifier. It tells where the handle is, but not what to do. So, I don't know, how do you open it?
Hi, Don. How are you? What are you doing with my car?
Trying to understand how to open it. What did you do?
Oh, well, I have the key, so it knows that I'm coming, so it automatically opens.
Oh, that's clever. This is a really good example of hiding the perceived affordance, hiding the signifier, because you don't need to have it there. The owner of the car knows how to use it, and when the owner of the car comes near with a key, it automatically opens. You can grab the handle. That's very clever design. You know, I bet you're curious what the stuff you're learning has to do with real design. We've talked about affordances and signifiers and a little bit about conceptual models. Well, here's some real design. Let's talk about it. See this? It's a tape dispenser. And we have the tape and something designed at the end so it doesn't stick, and the holder, the dispenser, and look at this, the packaging. The designer has to think it all through. It isn't enough to design the product. You have to design how it's mounted, the packaging, instruction manuals, even the box in which it's shipped. That's kind of what's exciting about design. It's the whole system.